Wonderful to be here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the MPNFL Second Division Footy Show, thanks to O'Brien Real Estate. With over 9 locations across the Mornington Peninsula, O'Brien Real Estate is able to achieve the best price for your sale or rental, backed by a myriad of experience. Great to be here once again. Been a big day of junior footy as well. The regional champs are underway, and loved every minute of broadcasting the under-16 and under-17 matches between the FJFL and the MJFL. Mornington won the under-16s and Frankston won the under-17s. And for all parents and kids and families, an opportunity to see them on the GameFace Facebook page. Let's welcome our panel as we look at the second division. And before we welcome the panel, some incredible results on the weekend, including Somerville with a big win over Langwarrin. Someone said that Langy would win by 15 goals last week.
2 people.
And it wasn't Cappy and it wasn't me.
It was Cappy.
Cappy did say that.
Yeah, you said it as well.
No, I didn't say 15
that.
goals. I said it. I backed some of them.
By the way, good evening, Wayne Cap.
Dan, how you going, mate?
Good, great to have you with us.
Yep.
And hello, Chris Halcombe.
How are you, mate? We're running half an hour late on our normal time. Is that because you've renewed your membership at the Happy Hands Club? Or
No, that is because...
I told you always
Where
go
is
the half
Happy Hands
hour.
Club? Do
It's
you know
just
where
around
that
the
is?
corner.
No, I don't know where that
Just
is.
take the half hour. That's all you
I've been
need.
broadcasting the footy today, and we've seen some of the best young juniors.
Yeah, I was asleep when you were talking about it
day
before.
Of the regional championships. Day 2 on Sunday, and the third round will be on July 21st. Now, Coringal and Chelsea draw, but there is controversy. We'll get to that in a minute. Seaford fall in their first game back at RF Miles Reserving. And I'll just say how good those facilities are. We went there and we interviewed Zach Vansittart and also Simon Goosey before the game. Much more on the show, including the famous Holtz MVT. It's famous, gee.
It is.
We must be running out of good material.
Hey, give me a spell.
It's a great pleasure to welcome one of the stars of the Somerville Football Club, who had a brilliant year in 2019 when he was named in the Team of the Year on the halfback flank, won the club best and fairest. Hello, Nick Mason. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Dan. That's a nice intro. It's good to be here. Always down for a chat with the GameFace boys.
Well, mate, what a win that was on the weekend. Did you give yourself a chance? I mean, Brad Canavan had said to me, and he's always giving me the updates on the injury list thanks to Anytime Fitness, the Sutton boys out for the year. Fermanus has been a week-to-week proposition. Hoganberg gone for the year. And then you lost Lockie Williams 10 minutes in, and you've beaten the best team in the comp. What a win that was.
Probably the best win I reckon I've played in, Dan. But, I mean, Wiggy's always instilled with us that, you know, you're always in it, and he gave us a bit of a pump-up during the week, and there was a bit of vibe in the rooms before the game. So
a bit of a pump-up? I heard it was a bit more than that, mate. I heard he stripped paint.
Is that true?
I'll keep it in house. There was a little bit of a rev up from the wig, but it worked. So you can't knock the bloke. But look, the boys were fantastic, and it was a good win.
I always reckon that the best part of football is the first hour after a game in the club rooms, after you've had a win. I can't imagine how good it would have felt in the club, in the rooms after that game.
I don't think in the whole time I've been playing senior footy, I don't think I've seen that many people pile into the club rooms for the song in my life. It was jam-packed. It was awesome.
Yeah. The week before, disappointing against Seaford, and I think everyone had written you off because Langwarrin had dealt with you quite comfortably earlier in the season, and just thought, how do you beat Langy who hadn't lost a game?
Yeah, well, I know the score sort of didn't reflect it early in the year against Langy, but we always felt we were in it, and I don't know, like early in the year we just had terrible shots on goal and just missed easy ones that we should have really kicked. But yeah, disappointing against Seaford. We stuck with them for a half and sort of ran out of legs, but Seaford are a very good side as well, and credit to them, they played well. But yeah, great to get the win over Langy.
What was your biggest focus? Was it motivation? Like, Wiggy's a motivating coach, and you have that sort of a very passionate coach. Was he just relying on the passion and the excitement of the group, or did you
It wasn't really. I suppose, look, they have some great players, you know, with Zach Foot playing and Bagley and the likes. You know, obviously you want to nullify them out of it, but it was more just to play our role and, you know, everyone step up, which that's what me and the boys, you know, talking after the game. Every single player you looked around, you know, it's not normally he was good, everyone was good. So I think that's what really won the game for us. It was a team effort.
Yeah, what you need to win games of footy is for the whole team to play their roles.
Yeah.
And if, as you say, if the 22, 23 guys do that, anything can happen. And with the belief that you guys obviously have got, and you know, now, God, roll on. You can do it.
Hopefully it can kickstart a bit of a roll.
Well, you probably got the second best ruckman, I reckon, in the comp. and going up against Big Red on the weekend. He dominated the hit out 64-33.
Wow.
But you guys broke even on the clearances. So for a midfield that's sort of not where it probably you want it to be, they did a fantastic job at being able to break even with that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with, I think, Tom, the difference between separate sort of him and Big Red. Big Red's massive in the hit out front of the game, but Tom round the ground, like, he taps it, then he's down on the ground, he helps out. He's almost like an extra midfielder. So he's had a super season and around the ground, getting to his marks. I think he'll be a premier ruckman of the Peninsula.
Harry Pryor in the making, is it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're Jeez, let's not go. Some relation. He's got to be
He
related.
absolutely loves Harry
He's
Pryor.
got to be related. To
Now, you've been picking kids, and Brad said that was likely to be the plan with all the injuries. He did say to me that people have been around the Somerville Footy Club for a long time, have not seen an injury list like it. But I suppose when people go out, there's an opportunity for someone else. And tell us a bit about Lockie Dobson, kick 3, one of your young guys.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because he just moved across from. We signed him during the week, actually, last week.
Right.
So.
Good research, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a young fella, Dan, but
They got him from Super Rules, from
Yeah,
Mornington Raiders. He's just
he
come
played,
over on
Oh,
transfer.
well, I call him young because everyone's younger than me, so I'll go with that.
he was from up the bush, and obviously he'd played under Wig at Chelsea Heights, and he'd moved back down here, so that connection to Wig, and obviously didn't want to keep travelling to the bush, so I thought he'd finish his season down here. Knew he had a bit of injury trouble, especially up forward, so was happy to help out.
Just
got
managed to
something-
get him before the June 30 timeline.
Got
Deadline.
something common with Dan. He was up the bush on the weekend, weren't you, Dan?
Oh,
No, I
true.
wasn't.
Oh, you were.
No, I wasn't.
You were? Oh, okay. I thought you were. Miscommunication. Sorry.
Move on, idiot. You are a lunatic. None of your business, none of anyone's business. We're talking footy,
So
aren't we, Cappy? We're
Yeah, I
not
am,
talking
and-
social
and I'm gonna
interaction.
I'm not interested. Sammy,
I'm not either.
I was looking through the stats. Sammy, 64 plus possessions. Did it feel like you had that much more of the footy than they did?
Not really. I reckon it seemed like we sort of spread well from contests, which,
Yeah.
when you think about that, you probably got those 1, 2, 3 handballs chained to get on the outside, which he's lost it, which probably adds up. So, I mean, yeah, when you win games of footy, you generally have to have more of the footy. So,
Yeah.
looking back at it, we probably
That-
did have a bit
that
more
is
of it.
that is a lot more possessions, and then the team that hasn't been beaten all year and have a lot of guys who have a lot of possessions too. They're a high possession winning team. So
Yeah, for sure. You got Andrew Arthur and those likes.
Yeah,
that
Peach and all
always
those
been
guys.
We can't tag them all because Andrew Arthur, Pete,
Oh, you're back.
Sharkness. Sorry, I lost me Marvels there for a minute. But Andrew Arthur, Pete, Sharkness. Did you put any time into any of them, or is it just you just got
we
trust
actually
the blokes on them?
some of the young kids we brought in. Wiggy sent them to him and just sort of said it'd be a good experience for them. Run
Beautiful.
with roll. He said they're good players amongst the comp. It'll be good for them because they'll take you to the footy. So I think it was more, instead of the tagging role, it was sort of more of a learning role for those young kids.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Which worked.
And I reckon you've got the best back line in second division. It must be good to play with blokes like Rowie, and I reckon Mackenzie's having a really good year as
He
well.
is.
I mean, he had a year a couple of years ago, but it must be comfortable playing with some good players down there.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was saying the other night after the win in 2019, it felt like our back line was sort of really clicky. Like when someone took a mark, you knew where everyone sort of was. And I feel like over the last few weeks, that sort of come back in. And the likes like Mitch Manthel, he had a good game again on the weekend. So the young kids down there are really starting
The back line,
to play their role.
It's like a team within a team. You have your own.
100%.
You have your own little nucleus down there.
Yeah, it's
and
a little niche down the back.
well, they've always
line,
been the best defenders. That's what it's all about.
Frustrated
Don't worry about
midfielders.
the Julio Fords who run around with their hands in the air and try to claim glory. It's all about the back line.
Well, that's exactly right. Injury updates for the Anytime Fitness, and Somerville have got Lockie Williams' knee, 2 weeks to be confirmed, so
that
he's
hurts.
a big loss. Paul Fermanis is week by week. Kane McKenzie, a leg injury, a test on that, and Luke Rowe, a test for his leg on Thursday as well, and Travis Bravo, a test for an injury as well. So you just keep getting injuries every week, don't you?
Yeah, well, last night there was a few boys not training, that's for sure. A few sore bodies, a few corkies getting rubbed out, a few boys hobbling around just trying to get some movement into the legs. So it's a bit of an injury ward down there at Somerville, but hopefully we can get a few back.
Now, Nick, 109 Premier data points, 24 disposals last week, 3 clearances and a goal. Who celebrates a win bigger? We see your old man often shaking his head as some of the game, disappointed with the way the team's playing. You'll be pretty critical of the team, but I bet you he's pretty happy when you're having a good win too, the great man.
Oh yeah, he's very passionate, my father, that's for sure. He loves his footy through and through, and just his sport in general, cricket as well. Yeah, he's getting involved down at Summy, which is good. It helps me to have someone there supporting, so I can't really knock him for that. But I'd say he probably celebrates a win a bit bigger than I do.
Do you have any aspirations? You're only 20 years old and you're playing some good footy already, team. You thinking about having a run, maybe pre-season at the Dolphins or something like that?
Well, yeah, I was down there 2019. Well, 2020 I had a pre-season down there and ended up making their development list,
Yep.
and then I've thought about, I've spoken to a few coaches around the traps and thought about maybe venturing somewhere else for a VFL pre-season. But, the travel, like with work now, the travel thing's also something you have to take into account. So I think Frankston would probably be, the most suitable for me.
I better get my phone out. The last time we had this discussion, Danny Ryan
We did,
texted
Danny
me
Ryan.
With Zach Andrew Arthur, correct?
It was.
Yeah, so, look, I'm always open to it. I spoke to the development coach, Josh Moore, about going down halfway through this season, so he hasn't contacted me still, so obviously the footy's not good enough yet.
Come on, Maury.
We'll see what happens.
Work it out, Maury.
What are your thoughts on pre-game warm-ups, Nick?
You've got some good inside information here, Dan. Look, they weren't really my thing. I'm a very superstitious person. I have to have the music on until I'm into the ground. There's a few weird ones in there.
What about brekkie? Same?
Yeah.
What do you have?
Brekkie.
I've sort of a big English breakfast made by either mum or dad, so I get treated very well in the morning with that. So might have to pop over once I move out just for that breakfast. But warm ups. Yeah, it wasn't really something. I don't know. I used to always do them. Then I had a few games where I didn't do them. Just funnily enough, I happened to be on the table getting my rub before the game when the warm up happened, and I started playing good footy, so it became my superstition. But I did it on the weekend and it turned out alright, so might have to be something I give the flick, I think, and back to the warm-up.
Wiggy doesn't care if you don't do them?
Wiggy doesn't mind if you've got a reason behind it, which, mine was sort of superstition, plus I did some research and the science behind it was another reason why I didn't want to, so... Yeah, so if you've got a reason, unlike the G-man who just wants to get on the table and can't be bothered moving, then he doesn't really mind too much.
A lot of them is it's too cold outside or whatever.
Yeah.
He kicked 3 on the weekend. Early in the year, he kicked 4, and he kept you in it for a long time. He celebrates every goal like it's the most important goal in the world.
He does.
Look, we know he's an interesting cat. He's great for the game.
Yeah.
What does he bring to your footy club?
He brings a lot. Like, honestly, he's when he gets on the track, because being a concreter, his body's normally knackered. So Tuesday nights he'll probably only get out there for a little bit and do a light session, but when he comes out Thursday nights, he's always firing, he's loud. And like that, before the game, what you see out on the fields, what you get with him sort of in the rooms, he's sort of the pump up. Always, every single week, what you're going to get, 110% effort, and he's sort of a bit of a driving force down there when G-Man's up and about. I think Somerville's up and about.
Tattoo count goes up as well.
It does. I remember interviewing him 2 years ago after they'd made the finals, and I was perspiring profusely, just thinking, now, G-Man, what can I say? What can I say? I said, well, just talk normally. Oh, no, don't talk normally.
No.
Just talk differently. What do you mean, brother? What do you mean, brother? I said, well, you know what I mean. And he was good.
He's a bloody good player, mate.
Yeah, he's a very, very
He
good
might
player.
say it another way.
Have you interviewed his brother?
Yeah, he's a bit quiet.
Very quiet spoken.
Yeah.
It's completely
But
polar
a
different.
good player too.
Very
He's
good.
had a lot of injuries this year as well.
Very
After
good.
Starting
him.
the season really well, Nathan, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a few soft tissue niggles in amongst his hamstrings and calves, so hopefully he can get some continuity in his game.
So we spoke about their injuries before. Who's coming back? Who have you got to come back in the next week or two?
In the next, I think Trav Bravo's a week or two.
That's good.
Yeah, he just suppressed his ACL, so that was a good result.
That is a good result.
Yeah, Lockie Williams, hopefully,
Yeah.
I think he hopefully should just be a week.
Yep.
Well, for because he's a superstar. But I don't know, Paulie, I'm not too sure on. Hopefully, if Kane and Rowie miss, I assume they would only miss a week. So, look, there's only a fair few short-term injuries, but there's also a lot of long-term injuries there. So, hopefully, those boys can get back.
Well, they've made it hard to get back in with the way the other guys have.
Well, that's right. When the kids come in, it gives opportunity. But if they're going to
right.
play good footy,
they've
there's
earned their
pressure
spot.
on spots.
Well, it was the top 8 playing each other on the weekend, and we were hoping for some spectacular results, and we certainly got them. Nick Mason from the Somerville Footy Club with us for Growth Syndicates Australia, helping you eliminate debt, consolidate debt, and pay off the mortgage in around 5 years. Now, as we said, Summy, the first team to beat Langwarrin this year, and with that huge injury list, someone said they'd lose by 15 goals or so. We look at some of the highlights, and a terrific goal here by Somerville. Competitive game, but Somerville were able to remain a step ahead at every break. Langie's major ball winners, though, had plenty of it, with 5 players having over 20 touches, thanks to Premier data, including Andrew Arthur, Blake Peach and Chad Mulvogue.
Oh, was that your turnover,
but the
mate?
Eagles were able to make the most of the ball when they held it. You're unlucky there, Nick.
Oh, that's a
terrific
good one. We
mark.
like that.
Look at that. Mark of the day from
like
Nick
that one.
Mason.
Yeah.
From a turnover to a spectacular piece of play, as we look at more highlights here. And
There's Lockie Dobson. That's the one you reckon, John?
right. How old is he?
He's 43.
Oh, I don't know, late 20s, I'd say. I'd a guess.
That's still pretty young compared to me. I'm old enough to be his father, as is Cappy. Sorry, Cappy. But the Eagles were able to make the most of the ball when they held it. As the disposal count by 64, they did lose it. They were still fantastic, while a couple of handy 50-metre penalties also went their way, but they didn't result in Langwarrin losing the game. And as Josh Beard said to me when I checked in on their injuries, Cappy, for Anytime Fitness, he just said they were better than us. They smacked us.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So they'll get Tim McGuinness back in the next week or so, which will help them.
Just a bit on that. A little birdie told me that McGuinness and Tuddenham were rested on the weekend. That McGuinness might have been available to play, but they decided to rest him, which they might live to regret that one.
No, they're far in front. They'll finish on top, so it doesn't matter, really.
I believe a loss is a good thing.
You said this last week. We don't agree with you. We told you that.
Somerville,
we don't agree with
Somerville
you.
just had to win. I know Langy would be disappointed to lose to a team that are a premiership contender when they've when they've got a full list ready to rock and roll, and they just haven't had that all year. But I think this loss will do them a world of good. Give them a chance to reinvigorate, give them a chance to recollaborate. Cappy, I know as a coach you hate losing, but at the end of the day, I think it'll really help them.
They'll have a bit of ammunition too.
Yeah, that'll give them
going
ammunition, but it also creates a little bit of doubt. Now, Langy, they might have had that air of invincibility where they thought they, could do anything, and now, hang on, like anyone can beat us. These teams around us are strong.
Not anyone, mate. Sammy.
If we're
beat
not
us.
on our game, we're going to lose. And so, look, I don't know. You can mount arguments either way for that one, Dan, I reckon.
Nick Mason was named best on ground. Ryan Gillis, Sam McDonald, and as we mentioned, the newcomer, the experienced campaigner, Lockie Dobson, kicked 3 goals each. Paddy Nagel, 20 touches, 5 clearances, also contributed to the goal column as well. Matt Norton won the battle of the Premier Ruckman in the comp, dominating Tom Roberts, but as Nick and the boys said, Tom Roberts was very good around the ground as Summy stay in 4th position. Are they a chance, Hulks and Cappy, to maybe get into the top 3, or have they got too much ground to make up?
Some will be undefeated for the rest of the year in the home and away. They will, 100%.
Some of the team you tipped to get done by 15 goals last week.
Name one side that'll beat them on the way home.
Week's a long time in footy for you, Hulks.
Name one. No, you
it
won't beat Langwarrin come finals time, but I'm telling you, they won't lose another game for the rest of home and away.
Yeah,
I don't think Seaford and Mornington's run home's that hard. So that's going to be the key. If Seaford, Mornington, I think, are set in the top 3 with their win on the weekend, but I think Seaford are the ones. But I can't see them dropping a couple.
Seaford have got Devon Meadows twice.
Yeah, but that's they're way above them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I reckon Summy's now just got their eyes set on let's try and make finals. I think if it gets to a double chance, fantastic. But I reckon there's a lot of teams fighting for those spots, and everyone's going to be there's no easy games.
Good percentage, easy draw back through. I reckon they'll finish 4th. Even if they win every game.
It was this time last year, Nick, where you started to make your run, wasn't it? And then you fired up. Brilliant win in the first final.
Yep.
A wonderful contest in the second final, high-scoring game. You went far away against Coringal, the eventual grand finalist. So maybe it's going to be very similar this year for you.
Yeah, well, like you say, we've proven when it comes to the pointy end of the year, we can play some good footy. So I think it's just, get to finals and hopefully get some personnel back. And look, I think anything's possible. We've got the belief we can go all the way. So I think we've just got to sneak in.
Now, Coringal and Chelsea complete a controversial draw, and I still think there's a bit more to be played out here. The game was locked up at nearly every major break between the Bulls and the Gulls. But Coringa were able to hit the front by 23. As we look at the replay here, there's the King. He's kicked a goal off the ground. He's pretty happy with himself.
Are you going to play their first 3 points they kicked in the first quarter, or 2, was it?
Well, we're not sure about that.
Okay.
What I've been told is that most officials had Coringa a point up when actually another official who was able to get the result his way, according to what I've been told, had the scores level. So at the end of the day, if Coringa were seen as being a point up, they probably should have won the game.
Well, the video replay showed that they were a point up at the end of the day. And the MPNFL have gone to the MPNFL and they've told them that that's the case. MPNFL have agreed that that is the point. That is, yes, you won by a point, but the umpires have made their cards.
Yeah, that's the way I
it stays
understand
a draw.
Law 8.1, but wasn't there a similar situation in 2016 between Pines and Chelsea? And Paddy Swain said, hang on, he contacted Brett Dunn, the Chelsea coach at the time, who also spent a year at Coringa, ironically, and he said, that, Brett, I reckon you guys have won, even though they've said the score is level. And he went to the man in charge of the MPNFL at the time and said, I reckon Chelsea has won, or Chelsea took the matter and said Pines have picked it up, and Chelsea ended up getting the points. Now, in this situation, we believe Coringa, through Luke Forsyth, their coach, has said, we've won by a point, contacted the league, or contacted Chelsea, and Chelsea said, we'll leave it in the hands of the league, and the league have said, no, the result will stand under 8.1
the league,
of the guidelines.
The league agreed that the Coringa had won the game, but the umpires have signed the documents to say that it was a draw, and they were happy with that result. So this is going to go further. There's a financial...
I didn't know that the league had said that Coringa had won the game.
Yep.
I just thought under 8.1.
They agreed that on the vision that was the score that Coringa had won by a point, but they weren't happy to overturn the decision, and that the umpires had signed the cards for that, and that's what they were going with. So this is going to go further, and there's a backer apparently from the Coringa Footy Club. One of their sponsors is going to finance the appeal, and it's going to go further.
Maybe back in 2016, there was both clubs agreed that the result was wrong, and they were able to get that across. And this time there might be a bit.
I get the impression Chelsea might feel it's wrong, but they've said leave it in the hands of the league.
Yeah, well, they haven't said no. Yes, you take the points, have they?
The only argument could be that because
leave it in the hands of the league, because I think they knew the league was going to go down the path of. Well, the umpires have signed off the documents.
Whereas back in 2016, it was flipped straight away because all parties were happy with the decision. Maybe Chelsea saying we'll leave it in the hands of the league, indicating, well, we don't know. The umpires have said this. That's why it's at with the MPNFL now.
The only thing that Chelsea can say is that during the end of the game, when it was getting close and it was tight, that they changed their style of play to cater for what the score was on the ball, which the umpires had agreed to at three-quarter times. So that's the only avenue that they've got to be able to say, hey, we were unjust as well, we were unfair, because this is what the official umpire score was.
And if that's the case, they've got to leave it as it is.
Well, that's the argument, and that's where it's going to go a little bit further.
The unfortunate thing is, if Coringa had won the game, they're on 20 points with Chelsea.
Yeah.
And now they're 4 points off the pace. It could be the difference between them missing the finals and making it, and it could be the difference between Chelsea making it or missing it.
That's a great point, Dan.
If they get the 2 points, I mean, this is why it's controversial. If it was bottom teams, with the greatest respect, and they played a thriller too. The score was wrong originally between Crib Point and Pearcedale, but changed later on. Pearcedale won by 2. When I first saw the score, it had been put on all the various social media outlets, GameFace, etc., as a 1 point result going Crib Point's way.
But what if it was
changed? Now, it would be a bit different if it was bottom two teams, because it wouldn't have a big impact probably on where they were going to finish at the end of the year in regard to finals. But this Coringa-Chelsea game is one where it could have a major impact.
But what if it was bottom 2 in Division 1?
And
then he would get relegated.
Different in Division 1.
Yeah. That's
with the greatest respect.
What if it was a final?
Well, it's got to get right. Whatever happens, they've just got to make a hard and fast rule. It's either the umpires, whatever the umpires agree on, at three-quarter time, if they've agreed that that's the score, everyone's waving their flags. Coaches set up for that score, as you were mentioning, Hulks. The game's played completely different.
That's a sensible view.
How would you
Well
feel?
done. That's good for you.
How would you feel, Nick, if it was your team that was thinking they were 1 point up and had won the game and it ended up being a draw?
It's really an interesting one.
And it cost you a final spot.
Well, I get what Hulks is saying in terms of I can see it from Chelsea's side also that they might have changed their style of play, which who knows what the result would have been had they not, or had they have known they're down. You know, they might take the game on, kick a goal, but I guess you can only go off what has been played. And if Karinga win by a point, I think probably Karinga win by a point because it probably will turn out vital in that last spot of finals.
Having said that, Karinga up by 23 points at half time, so Chelsea did fight back well to get the result as a draw at this stage. So, as we said, on reviewing the game footage, Karinga have claimed they won by a point, but since both goal umpires agreed on the final scores, a draw at the moment stands. For Karinga, Seth Kelly kicked 3 with 20 disposals to be named best on ground. For Chelsea, Curtis Bywater, the king, another 4 goals. He's
get around
having
him.
a good patch.
Get around him.
Jesse Davies is named best on with 21 touches and 9 tackles, while Zane Carter and Dave Barton having a special year for Chelsea, had 30
MVT.
disposals each. He'll be in
MVT.
the MVT, no doubt about that. We'll get to that team for the Frankston RSL with Chris Holcomb very, very shortly. There was no Sean Foster, no Jack Francis, thanks to Anytime Fitness, but they're expected to return this week for the big game against Devon Meadows.
I'd love to know, and I'm sure we can find out, but Tom Curran only had 22 possessions, so I gather he was tagged pretty heavily, and the job it would have been a good job to keep him to that.
Great job.
We all seen what he's been able to produce over the last few weeks. It's been amazing. Zane Carter's forms.
He's had a great year.
Yeah, he just keeps going 30
MVT.
plus and a goal. He's
MVT.
where he'd want to be.
Best and fairest at Chelsea.
And David
You
Barton
reckon?
also.
What, last year?
No, this year.
You reckon this year?
Zane Carter.
Jo-
Maybe just ahead of Dave Barton and Sean Foster.
Do you have money on it?
No, I don't want to have any money on it.
Sure.
Even though I could, because you absolutely made a goose of yourself last week when you
Mate,
said that Lang Warren
Just
had
get your
beat
coin out there. Get the butterflies out of your
some
moths
of them
out of
by
your
15
wallet
goals. No,
and put something on it.
I like my moths, thank you very much. Very comfortable in there in the George Costanza wallet. Now, Mornington ruined Seaford's RF Miles homecoming. It was very, very nice to be there and interview, of course, Zach Van Sittart and Simon Goosey. Good to see footy back at RF Miles as Mornington kicked an important goal and played some great footy. And the new facility is absolutely sensational. You're right, Hulks, the car parking will be an issue and continues to be an issue. But having said that, it's great to see footy back at RF Miles. There hasn't been footy there for 4 years.
Oh, yeah, well done.
Have the supporters improved?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there long enough. I had
I'll
to
be
get down to Jubilee Park, but they seem friendly enough to us. The Tigers started well, boys. They kicked 3-7 to head into quarter time, just 19 points up, but Simon Goosey's men found themselves on a 7-0 second quarter blitz.
8.
And 8-0 second quarter blitz. Thank you, Hulks. And when Seaford got back into gear after half time, the Dogs put their foot down, finishing 6-goal winners thanks to the Tigers. Disappointing 7-21 for the second week in a row. Very accurate kicking by Mornington. 24-5 last week, Cabby. 15-9 this week. Adrian Speedy named best for his 4-goal performance, had 26 touches, and he was named the Frankston Jeep All-In Player of the Round. Jackson Calder, another 3 goals. Caelan Bird, 33 touches, and Tim Broomhead kicked 2 goals from his 28 possessions for Seaford, while Macklin Rain, your man, had 44 headouts.
XYCW player.
Yes.
Hold on.
Anyone is
Interesting
Do
stat
any
game.
other teams ever think of tagging Speedy? Every week we read out these incredible stats.
He was best on ground by mile.
Yeah, he's just racking them up every week. Like,
151 Premier data stats.
yeah,
too.
every week he's just killing them. And he kicks, he kicks goals.
Dirty left footer.
Like 6 clearances as well. So I just can't understand whether he's that good that he runs his tag off, but. Surely you've got to stop him.
He's a good player.
And he's so important.
Interesting stat game, wasn't it?
It was.
I had a look. Scoring shots 27-23 Seaford. Inside 50s 46-36 Seaford. Deep inside 50s 30-12.
Yeah.
Look, that's amazing.
Yeah. Small ground.
Yeah, it is. Jacko, 3 goals only from 9 touches, so he's had a quiet day and they've sort of dampened him. But the efficiency going forward with a key forward in second division obviously is a very, very valuable asset.
They're going well, aren't they? And they're kicking accurately, which a lot of teams are struggling with at the
I was
moment.
looking at the disposal efficiency for both teams in this game, and I've marked down like a high standard game it must have been, because they were both in the 70s for total efficiency, like handball and foot, which is incredible. The average in Division 1's in the low 60s. So that says a lot about what a standard of football that game must have been. So would have been good to watch.
The improvement in Mornington too is they've got more depth in their midfield. Not only speed standing up, and Jimmy Cameron's come in, kick another 3. Nate Heath, second week back, 25 last week, 24 this week. Caelan Bird back in first game last week, 31, 33 this week.
Yeah.
So their midfield depth's starting to get bigger too. So they're getting...
Did you mention Miller?
No, because he'll ring me all the time, and
I'll mention him anyway.
All right, you mention
All right,
him.
Warwick come back in, 26 disposals, 1 goal.
Yeah.
And so important. We all know what he can do. And
Have you guys played them?
Mornington.
They smashed them.
We
Smashed
beat
them.
them at
It was
Summit.
Mornington's
Did
worst
too,
game of the
that's
year.
right.
Yeah.
They kicked badly, didn't they, that day?
Yeah, it wasn't they kicked badly. They got smashed by these blokes. Physically beat them up.
So Seaford
good
have got to
side,
tidy up their kicking for goal. For
Yes.
7:20, that's just cost them the win.
Yeah.
The game's obviously played on even terms. The stats were even, all that stuff. The only thing you look at yet is the poor kicking, and that's what's cost them that win.
Correct.
Some injury concerns for Anytime Fitness for them. Rourke Fisher off with concussion. Zach Vansittart off with concussion, so that obviously missed this week. And Matt Ravenel was one of 4 players who kicked more than 15 goals for the season. Had good contributors in regard to their goal kicking Seaford this year. A long-term knee injury. Hasn't been properly confirmed yet, but not expected to play
good luck.
again this year. Now a thriller between Pearcedale and Crib Point, and Pearcedale edge out Crib Point for their 3rd win of the year. A blistering start by the Dales put Crib Point on the back foot early at Tractor Park. They were goalless to quarter time, but the Magpies worked their way back into the match, being just 9 points down at 3/4 time. And the Magpies held Pearcedale to just 5 behinds in the last quarter, but could not get the job done, as I say, finishing 2 points short, 9-8-62 to 9-6-60. Carl van der Plume had a day out with 33 touches for the Panthers and 8 inside 50s. Jake Frawley also had a monster, 32 possessions and 2 goals for 184 Premier Data ranking points to take man of the match honours. Jacob Cook
Man of the match.
picked up 25
He was playing
disposals for
cricket.
Crib Point with 7 rebounds, while Miles Shepherd
BOG.
had a good day, scoring 4 majors. You want BOG, do you? 4 majors.
What, was he playing
to be
cricket?
named
Was
the
he? Was he playing in some whites? Or
Oh,
what
well,
was
the
he
same
doing?
thing, you
No,
lunatic.
it's not, mate. It's a
But
different sport.
on that game, I just like Luke Daniels been on fire every week. 7 goals, 7 goals, 7 goals. Like he was must have been held well. Only kicked a couple. So Cribby obviously put some work into him and slowed him down.
Yep.
So what a game that would have been.
Ultra impressed with Frawley's game. Ultra impressed. And you're a fan too.
Good player.
Yeah?
Good mate of mine too. Tried to get
Is he?
Yeah, tried to get him to Summy.
How close did you get?
Not very. He just wants to play with his mates. He was up. He was on Box Hill's list for a little bit. And
Was he?
Was playing footy up there in the Eastern League,
down the
I
team.
believe. And yeah, wanted to come down
Thanks,
here,
sir.
but yeah, he's a super player and a super bloke. So it's good to see him doing well.
Well, they can make it 4 wins and 2 in a row this week. We'll get to selection shortly when they take on Tired, and they
Thanks,
probably
mate.
should do that. Now, going around the grounds, Hastings needed a big percentage booster after Clint Einsendale had said last week in our record that you'll get a chance to look at again this week, the GameFace record for this weekend's round of footy in the MPNFL, and he was disappointed with their loss to Chelsea, considering Chelsea didn't really have a bench for much of the second half. They needed a big percentage booster against Tyre, but got a scare. I mean, Tyre kicked all their goals in one quarter, but were right with them at half time. In the end, 8-9, 57 to 3-8, 26, Cappy, isn't really going to improve your percentage. Dylan Wilson was named best for the Blues with 18 touches and a massive 9 clearances. Nathan Gray and Jake Hewitt both had over 20 possessions. Ethan Rahali, he'll be their best and fairest comfortably, you'd think, this year. Another 27 disposals. Harley Parker had 24, the former Pines Premiership player. But it was another case of too much for too few, with 13 recording from the Abbeys, 10 possessions or less. But they were okay for a half, but didn't kick a goal in 3 quarters, Cappy.
Yeah, I heard Charles Coyne had a good game also for Hastings. But the Tyab, you're right. They hang with them for a bit and then, the teams kick away. But I sort of was a bit worried for Hastings in this game because I thought, Tyab are up. They've copped a bit of a kicking. And this was a game I'm sure they thought that they had an opportunity to win. And Hastings, they've had a shocking year with injuries and all that sort of stuff. So, but I went through the stats again and had a look at the kicking efficiency, which I think is a huge thing. And Tyab's kicking efficiency was 37%.
Oh.
Sorry, that's not kicking efficiency. That's total efficiency. So 37.
Yuck.
So it's impossible.
So if you saw that, and you were coaching Tyab, what would be the main drill you'd look at training?
Well, it's hard to teach senior guys that skill. That's stuff they learn at juniors, and you bring them up and all that sort of stuff. So they're not always this bad, but that was just, I don't know if it was really wet out there or what the reason was, but, they're turning the ball over, three times out of four, just about.
Far too much.
So that just makes it impossible to win. So, I don't know how you teach the guys to concentrate more, or it's all about, making sure you're using the football properly.
Sometimes if you're Hastings as well, you go into a game like that, you change your game style, and you're just trying to run the gauntlet flat out.
They needed a big percentage boost when they didn't get it.
No, they didn't, and it'll hurt them, and that will mean that they'll probably miss finals.
They will. The percentage didn't get the boost that it needed.
Rogash obviously had a good game.
He did.
35?
He always does. He's a wonderful player.
But out of the 35, 31 of them were uncontested.
Oh, of course. He plays Bruce Fresh footy in the second division, mate. Don't worry about that.
But he's good enough to know,
where to
be, Paul Rogash, and just reads the play so well.
Oh, we've pumped him up enough, haven't we?
He's a super player. He's someone you always have to worry about. We were actually quite unfortunate for him, but lucky that when we played him, he went down early. So he was someone we didn't have to worry too much about. But he's a super player, has been for a long time.
Nick Mason, our guest on the second division football show for O'Brien's Real Estate. And, of course, the guests presented to you by Growth Syndicates Australia. Now, the other game to look at, Devon Meadows bounced back at home after Langwarrin were far too good for them the previous week. A solid win against Rye. The game was probably won in the third quarter. They've kicked 6 goals, 1, while Rye have kicked 3 goals, 6 in a lot of ways. Panthers always seem to step ahead of Rye, leading at every break, and found enough avenues 2 goal to kick 15 majors, 15-5, 95 to 8-11, 59. So one more scoring shot, 20 to 19. Hayden Murphy kicked 4 majors, and Ty Kirkwood 19 touches and 3 tackles. Rory Hillis had 20 possessions, having a very good year for Devon Meadows, even though Hulks hasn't really looked at him very much for the MVT.
Consistency, mate.
And he kicked 3. Joel Hillis had a game high 28 possessions. Your man, Kalani Ryan, back for the
Good
D's,
name.
finishing with 17 possessions and a goal.
Hang 10, man.
While playing coach Adam Kirkwood, who's got injured, kicked 2 from his 15 disposals, has a hamstring injury, and Oscar Whitty had a big day, 30 touches and a possible season high 10 tackles. So he's out for a couple of weeks, Adam Kirkwood, with a hamstring, a big loss, Cabby.
Yeah, that's no good. You're talking of breakfasts, what you had. I reckon Mrs. Hillis must have given her 2 boys something special for breakfast that day. They both had ripper games, kicked 4 goals between them and about 50 possessions. So but they always perform well for Devon. They're really good players. Devon Meadows, I thought they'd win that comfortably, and they did. And that's another tick in the box for them, and they've got to make every post a winner for them.
Their big issue, they're 5th at the moment, 24 points, their percentage 95.21. It's behind Chelsea on 22 and 112.55. Hastings on 20 points, 99.56. And Coringal, who are on 18. Rye on 20, but a poor percentage of 87.71. And Coringal on 18 at the moment, depending on what happens with this controversial draw, 106.79. So their percentage, Hulks, is a bit of a concern for Devon at the moment.
Yes, it is.
With a tough run home.
I think Rye is struggling with depth at the moment, which is fair enough. They got a few key injuries out. They did have 6 more inside 50s. They did have more clearances, almost double. But I think their spread of people in there, probably bottom 8 or 10, are probably a little bit off the pace at the moment. Devon are doing everything right. They've won a lot more games. We thought they'd win this week. They've got a really important run home. That 5th spot is the one up for grabs. I do think 5th spot in this year in second division is going to be making up numbers. I think the top 4 are pretty clear in front of where everyone else is.
But having said that, they haven't made the finals for 18 years. When you ever made the finals for 18 years, to make the finals, I reckon it's a great achievement.
I think it is.
It gets everyone
Dan.
up and about, Cappy.
Dan, I remember you talking about 2013 to me a couple of weeks ago when EDS snuck into the finals in
that was ridiculous.
And,
that was the Cinderella story.
Yeah,
that was.
And YC we were on top, 3 games clear, odds on.
Course you were.
But they came from nowhere and won the flag that
Well,
year from fifth.
Top 5 goals down in the last
Totally
quarter of the grand final.
That's why I say weak as piss. That's why.
Well, we were that year. We weren't great. We fell over, but
They were.
but that was the one we didn't win in a decade.
Here we
In
go.
the morning.
We're in the second division show, and he's brought in YC.
Yeah.
How have you done that?
What I'm trying to do
He's
is
a
bring it.
magician.
I'm
I
trying
see what
to
you're
say
saying.
into the
if
second division
if
show.
you sneak into fifth spot on the ladder, you're not out of it. You're definitely in it.
No, you're out of it.
And
this
if
year.
you have the
You're out.
right attitude, anything can happen.
No, you're
You've got to
out.
be in it to win it. Look what you guys did last
Rocky
year, Nick,
Balboa.
in regard to getting in the finals. You won your first
Sorry.
final. I mean, I saw how excited Brad Canavan was when you won that last game against Hastings, and then you knew, well, we're there now. We've got an opportunity. Got to be in it to win it, as we
Yeah,
say.
you definitely do. I feel like when there's energy around a side as well, and there's a bit of a buzz around the club, you lift that extra 10%, which obviously EDS did. You saw the Bulldogs do it in the AFL a few years ago. So I think it's becoming more common now that it can be done with, every comp in footy being a lot closer.
Absolutely. Now, Frankston RSL sponsors the second division most valuable team, proud sponsor of local footy and Game Changer. You can always have a look at one of our games for GameFace every Saturday on one of their big screens down at the Frankston RSL. Go on, Holtz.
Yeah, well, it's a
Here's your
procession.
moment to shine, maybe.
Oh, come on, mate. I always shine. Stricko stays in. He's best on ground again.
Been outstanding.
Yeah, Rowie stays in. I was tossing up between him and Mackenzie this week, but Rowie, I really like how he goes. Zane Carter, who you reckon's going to win the BNF. Jake Smart stays in. Churcher stays in. He was third best for Langy on the weekend. Meso comes in.
Yes.
He's in. He's back in after a best on ground performance.
Is that just because he's come in today? Is that why?
No, I did this before I knew Meso was coming
sure?
in. You know he's one of my favourites anyway. He doesn't need to, he just needs to go and get me a pie at the canteen to get back in this side. Midfielders, Brawny's in this week. He's having a stellar season. It's really tough to get into this midfield, but Nick Braun at Seaford's been fantastic. We have Speeds on the other wing, who was best on ground. Geez, I select well, don't I?
Well, if you
they just seem to perform every time I
Blind
go.
Freddie could have pricked Speedy in.
So you think.
Yeah,
You think you're
good
select well.
horse, good horse. Rux, Norton,
very good.
Andrew Arthur and Peach all Langy through there. Broomhead was going to get on the weekend. Daniel stays in. Jake Frawley. Very good Jake Frawley on the weekend. I really rated your game and you deserve your spot on the flank. Chad Malvo, he just keeps surprising me. I'm waiting
very
for
good
him
kid.
just to...
Consistent.
He is. He had 27 on the weekend.
Yeah.
And we looked at him early on against you guys' first game. We thought, he's a small forward that sometimes gets up. But he gets a lot of the ball.
He's zippy, yeah. He's real nifty. He gets up the ground and works back forward. And
I like that word, nifty.
Yeah,
it's good. I'm going to call him nifty
a bit of a
for the
handful
rest of the
both
year.
times, so he's a good little player.
Very good. Jacko, James Cameron kicked another 3. Interchange, Scotty Jansen, Joel Hillis back in the team. Barton's still there, and Matty Hill was fantastic again. Just quickly, Dan, I did do something a little bit off cuff. I was talking to Cappy about it before. I went through Jacko's last 6 games,
Yes.
and I just put down what I thought he would kick, not knowing where he's at the moment
Yep.
or what it totaled.
He's 53.
And I had him kicking 7 against Hastings, 7 against Kringle.
67.
I had 5 against Chelsea.
72.
I had 10 against Cribby.
82.
3 against Langy.
85.
And last I played Tybe and I had him down for 14.
99.
I had
You
him
can't
down.
tell me you didn't know that he was on 53.
I promise you to bits. That's what I went.
14.
And then I went back and looked. Oh,
Why
he
did
kicked one.
you think you kicked 14?
He kicked 11
why
against Cribby
14?
round 1. First time they played Cribby.
Why not 15?
Because I just picked 14, mate. I didn't know that it was going to end up at 99, but that's what I did.
Well, they have finals too, so you get the 100 in the finals if it goes like
Yeah,
that.
but it doesn't count. You got to do it in home and away.
Oh, well, still, he's had a
I
very,
reckon
very
you
good
count him.
year.
I reckon you count him if you get him in the final.
But yeah, no, that's my team.
Well
and
done.
It's
No, it's not
fantastic.
bad. You've done all right.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Well done.
If you disagree with that team, make sure you get on the GameFace Facebook page and get stuck into Chris Holcomb, who always gets stuck into me. I need a bit of love. Our tips for this
You're getting
week, as
plenty
we're
of love,
right
mate.
into the home run now in the second division competition. Can you believe that, how quickly this football season has just hurtled away, Wayne Cap, thanks to Telstra Business and Technology Centre of Melbourne South. The whole panel last week missed out by tipping Seaford and Lang Warren, while Hulks and Plugger tipped Pearsdale. Now,
Of course it did.
the team at Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South is helping local businesses turn technology into opportunity. Go to tbtcmelbournesouth.com.au to find out more. Or call, as I put on the big radio voice, 1300 669 103, 1300 669 103 to chat to the team today. Let's start with Crib pointed home to Seaford. They've been competitive, probably could have got across the line last week, Cappy, but Seaford will be too strong.
Yeah, Seaford will win this game, and but Cribby, I feel for him for last week. That win would have been huge for him, but it was huge for Pista as well.
Yeah.
But Seaford will be way too strong.
Yeah, you guys need Seaford to drop a game. This won't be one of them on the way home.
No, I'll go Seaford as well. I think no one.
Yeah.
Devon Meadows and Chelsea, massive game. Chelsea 22 points if they win. They'll replace Devon Meadows in the top 5 unless they, if they have a draw, they've got a better percentage anyway. So I'm going to say it again, Hulks. The classic 8-point game.
No, you're not let us. Do you know that if you win 4 points, but if you lose, you don't get the 4 points, so it's 8 points? That's what Dan explained to us last week. I just didn't know what 8-point game meant.
Do you understand that?
Do you know that?
I do, yeah.
No, good on you, mate. Thanks for that, Dan.
The great man's looking after me. He's been good. Good having you. I want to hear every week.
I'm going Devon Meadows in this one.
At home?
At home. I think they're coming off some pretty good form, and they play pretty well out there.
Chelsea get a few back.
Devon are different at home. Like I said, they ran Mornington they should have beaten Mornington out at Devon Meadows, so they're a different side at home. And Chelsea still got their injury worries, so I'll take Devon.
And despite the controversy, and I know they had some injuries, Chelsea would be disappointed they didn't beat Coringal last week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If that controversy's changed, do you reckon Chelsea will come out a bit more fiery, Dan?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think, even though there's been controversy this week, it's a very good question, Nick. You've got a great future in this industry. Well done.
Watch out, Dan.
I'm starting to sweat. No, it was a very good question. I think no matter what, because there's been a lot of controversy about it, that they will be seen as maybe not appearing to take in the spirit of the game in regard to saying, well, okay, we might need to look at the score and say it should have gone the way, as Paddy Swain did a few years ago for Pines, it should have gone the way of Coringal. But at the end of the day, they didn't do that. But we'll see what happens, see how it plays out.
Can I say, they're the one team that are annoying me. They're underperforming this year.
Up and down,
I rate their list and I rate the players that are playing for them. They annoy me at the moment. I reckon they're
hard to pick. We spoke about this on Saturday. They're really hard to pick, and
they're up and down a bit.
Yeah,
they are.
In saying that, I'll go Devon just at home.
Nice. I think Devon can just get the job done. Rye hosting some of it. Why are you going to beat Rye? Do you think early in the season they beat you, didn't they?
They did.
Could prove costly.
They played. Yeah, it could. They played a very good brand of footy early in the season. We were a bit off that day, and they were a bit on. So you know what happens in footy. But I think we should win. Should win this one. We've got a point to prove that we are better than Rye after that loss early. So we owe them one.
Well, they need to just continue the momentum of last week, Cappy, don't they?
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm picking them. They got that momentum from what they did. Some of you believe they can do anything from now on, and so they should.
Yeah, Summy for me.
Summy for me. Mornington and Hastings. Mornington always play well at Alexandra Park. They're in very good form. Hastings just a bit disappointing in the last couple of weeks, maybe dropping off a bit. But, last throw of the dice for Hastings, but Mornington too good. Too much to play for me.
Yeah, I'm Mornington.
Yeah, and it's the Past Players Day and the reunion for the 2001, 81 and 71 premiership sides on Saturday.
You played in 2001?
2001 we played Hastings, yes.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a reunion on Saturday.
Oh, fantastic. Good luck. That should be a fantastic
How many goose kicked that day?
No, he was pathetic. Like, he didn't need to touch up to three-quarter time.
Right.
He was very ordinary. So we won by 23 goals, but he didn't touch the ball. He did. Understand, we were behind at quarter time. We won by 23 goals.
How'd you go?
Yeah, I was shit up.
I thought you were.
Yeah.
Were you best on ground?
No, I didn't get the medal, but I should have.
Okay. Very shy and retiring man, isn't he? Look at the head. He won't be able to get that head out the door when we finish the show tonight, Nick.
And someone texted in what really happened.
Someone will. Mornington, too good for mate.
Yeah, Mornington too good for Hastings, I think.
Langwarrin and Coringal. Now, early in the year, outside Summy's win on the weekend, Cappy, Coringal pushed
I did.
Langy all the way, lost by 6 points. Now, Langwarrin kicked 7-16-58 to 8-4-52, but Coringal had a game plan and were able to close down them. Can they do it again?
Yeah, I think this will be a tough game. I reckon Langy will win. They'll be bringing back some stars this week. And they'll be, really hurt from what happened the week before. I feel a little bit for Kringle copping them this week. But, it's not. I reckon it won't be all Langwarren's way, but they'll win.
They will. This will be a very hard week on the track for Langy, and they'll come out firing. So I do feel sorry for the Bulls because we love the Bulls, but they'll get done this week.
Yeah, Langwarren comfortably.
Yeah, I'll go Langy to bounce back.
And Pearcedale 2 in a row for their 4th win of the season as they travel to Tyab.
Yep, Pearcedale.
They've done well, haven't they?
Great win last week.
Well done, Justin Kennedy and the crew at
congratulations. And
Boris,
yeah. And they'll continue on and back to back.
Pearcedale.
They've really improved, haven't they?
They have. Connor Benwell's having a good year.
He certainly
We
is.
like what he's doing.
Luke Daniel, ex-vice.
Footy we mentioned. We always mention them, don't you? Thank you very much, Cappy. Thank you, Holtz and Nick. Well done. Good to see you playing great footy. And Nick Mason with us for Growth Syndicates Australia. It's a pleasure. And our second division footy show proudly brought to you by O'Brien Real Estate. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Reese. We'll be back with the first division show very shortly. Get your game face on.